If you're gonna move to Arizona, or any state for that matter, don't you think it might be good to know how much state tax you're gonna pay on the money you earn and make? Well, this video is for you. We're gonna dive deep on some breaking news for Arizona's state tax percentage that you won't wanna miss. Guys, as always, thank you so much for joining our channel. If you don't mind just hitting that or tapping or destroying that subscribe button, liking us, and hit that ring notification bell because we're putting out videos twice a week for your personal enjoyment and education on everything Phoenix. And this video hopefully will get out to more and more people that way. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay, now back in 2020, we had some elections. You may remember that. This thing called the presidential election, as well as many other elections too, that took place across the entire country. And in Arizona, it was no different. We had a lot of different elections and we had some propositions on the ballot that had to do with various different things throughout the state. One of those is Proposition 208, which caught some trends nationally. Why? Because so many different businesses and people are looking to move to Arizona. Now, why was that important? That was important because Proposition 208 had to do with increasing the state's income tax. All right, now currently the state's income tax is a progressive income tax rate that jumps on percentages based upon the amount of money you make. So obviously the more money you earn, the higher the percentage of tax is to the state that you're going to pay, very similar to what our federal tax rate system is. So what Proposition 208 actually did in 2020 is put the measure on the ballot for the citizens of Arizona to actually determine if the state could increase the state income tax, which is really a surtax of 3.5% on top of the highest tax percentage bracket of 4.5% in the state of Arizona, effectively making the highest income earners in Arizona, which is anyone making over $250,000 a year as a single individual or over $500,000 a year married filing jointly, an additional 3.5% on top of that income they were to earn for that year. So again, if you didn't catch that, the highest percentage for the Arizona state income tax is 4.5% on the income earned at that highest rate. So this would be 3.5 on top of that for a total of 8% on the income above $250,000 or $500,000 if you're filing as a married couple. So for the top income earners in the state of Arizona, that is a big deal and a lot more money you're paying to the state. Now, how does the state go about marketing this proposition? They went about marketing this proposition as they were going to use that additional 3.5% surtax on that money for educational purposes. So that's a noble cause, right? Obviously, everybody wants good education for all of our young people throughout the entire country, no matter what state you're in. The question becomes with a lot of people is how well will that money be used actually for true educational purposes to actually get to the classrooms, the teachers, the actual students and benefit them directly. And that's obviously what then caused a firestorm to happen here after this was passed in November of 2020. Now, when it passed with a majority vote. It wasn't a 2/3 or 3/4 vote of the citizens or of the state of Arizona. It was actually a majority vote over 50%. And it did just receive barely enough votes, over 50%, to actually pass. So then the lawsuits, as you can imagine, ensued. Is this constitutional, unconstitutional, and so on and so forth, given the Arizona state constitution? And ultimately, what happened was that in 2021, August 19, it was ultimately declared unconstitutional to the extent that it mandated expending tax revenue in excess of a constitutional cap on educational spending. So there's the technicality that the people that were against it actually pursued and was found to be correct, that there is a cap on educational spending from a constitutional standpoint in terms of forcing people to pay a certain amount of money and collecting revenue off tax that way. So what ensued are 4 different proposals that the state legislature put in front of the Arizona Supreme Court and the lower courts as well to try to undermine the legitimacy of this Proposition 208. Now, I can tell you guys from a personal standpoint on our real estate team, the market at this point in time, at the end of 2020, was still very hot, and we were going into our season where we really ramp up in terms of sales and real estate transactions occurring because our weather's nice. You know, it's the season of awesomeness that I call down here in Arizona. And we were getting ready to obviously help several people relocate from a different state into Arizona, primarily because of the environment of the low tax rates. However, when this happened, they got wind of it. We had one from New York, one from New Jersey, one from Connecticut actually, and 3 from California, all within a matter of 1 to 2 weeks approximately, all email us or call us and let us know that they're going to put their plans on hold in terms of relocating to Arizona and or buying that second home with possibly changing their permanent tax address. And what's interesting is when I asked them where they were possibly looking to go if they weren't going to come to Arizona, they were looking at now states that didn't have a sales income tax or a lower one, states like Nevada, Texas, Florida, etc. So this was very frustrating because people were willing to come to Arizona and pay up to 4.5% of state sales tax as opposed to 0 in Nevada or 0 in Texas. However, they were not willing to come down here because they are apparently high income earners and pay that additional 3.5% surtax on top of the 4.5% they're already going to be charged. So from personal experience, I know that if we had 6 people alone over the next couple of weeks from the time this prop actually passed, not come to Arizona or buy that second home, I know obviously the state of Arizona did lose some business from people not relocating or so on and so forth, at least in that short term, because of this proposition passing. However, because of the legal onslaught ensued and it actually never went into full effect for a full calendar tax year because of legislation and lawsuits, those people, some of those actually did end up coming to Arizona, and then we know what happened in 2021 in terms of the housing boom across the country, and Arizona was no exception with our appreciation skyrocketing in 2021 and through the first half of 2022. Now, one of those 4 pieces of legislation that went in front of the courts actually was a proposal to change the state's tax graduated rate code into a flat tax rate code. That's interesting, right? And what would that flat tax be? That flat tax would be actually a tax of 2.5% flat across the board for everyone. That caught a lot of eyeballs and a lot of interest in the courts and of course with the citizens of Arizona. Okay, so let's talk about where we stand today. Effective in 2022, the state collapsed their 4 tax brackets of that graduated rate system into just 2, okay? For the people earning up to $27,272 as an individual, they were going to pay a tax rate of 2.55%, and then anyone else exceeding that amount would pay a tax rate of 2.98%. But the flat tax system gained more and more traction. Let's talk about that for a second. Currently, there are 9 states in the United States of America that actually have a flat tax system. And they claim that it's working fantastic for them, with them actually grossing and collecting more revenue overall with the flat tax system than they were prior to when they had a graduated rate system. So let's talk about the arguments on both sides of for or against a flat tax system. Obviously, critics of a flat tax system say that it provides additional relief for high income earners when they go to file their taxes. But critics for the flat tax system actually argue that it reduces the incentive for a worker or a business to actually work on the margin. Why? Because if they actually go from a certain income level here and they work harder to achieve an income level up here, that might put them in an additional tax bracket, a percentage that's higher, and therefore the additional money they made wasn't worth it because the amount of tax that was taken out of that money ultimately netted them the same or even less than they would have just set back and stayed where they were earning this amount of income. So those are the 2 arguments for both sides of the flat tax system. But let's look at the stats and see what the Arizona Department of Revenue has to say about this. In tax year 2017, which is the most recent data available, unfortunately, 45% of the state's individual income tax collections were generated from just the top 4% of resident income earners and those with the federal adjusted gross income of $200,000 or more. Conversely, the bottom 60%, due to various deductions, credits, and exemptions, in the year 2017, they only paid an effective tax rate of 1.4%, while the top 40% paid an effective tax rate nearly twice at 2.6%. Meanwhile, the top 0.7% of all income earners in the state of Arizona paid an effective tax rate of 3.7%. So overall, the state of Arizona is arguing that they will actually collect more revenue from a flat tax system because the 60% that is the bottom part of the income earners is a large number in terms of population. And if they're going to pay 2.5% on whatever income they earn as opposed to the effective 1.4% that they typically pay, that brings in more money overall, more dollars to the Arizona war chest for tax revenue. As it stands, with Arizona's graduated rate increase on the state income tax up to 4.5%, even at that, they were lower than 36 other states in the entire country that have some sort of state income tax, including the neighboring states that we are competing against, California, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, for lower tax rates. And apparently being lower than 36 other states that have state income tax, that has paid dividends, as the state of Arizona says that the income tax produced 185% more revenue in 2019 than it did in 1992, adjusted for inflation, despite or arguably because of a substantial rate reduction in the old system before moving to what is going to be a new flat tax system for the state of Arizona. And guys, check this out. If Arizona actually passes that 2.5 state flat tax proposal, spoiler alert, they just did, I'm gonna get to in a second, then they will be the lowest state in the entire union of any other states that have some sort of state income tax, which is gonna set up the state dramatically well for a awesome future when it comes to job growth creation and population influx, as people and businesses will continue to flock to Arizona for all those types of financial benefits. Okay guys, so what does this all mean? What this means is that Governor Doug Ducey, who is the outgoing governor, actually proposed this system and it all passed, and it's scheduled to phase into effect with a decline of tax rates to when it will actually hit in 2025 for that tax year to have a flat tax of 2.5%. But wait, there is breaking news, and this is a letter right here from Governor Ducey that you can see on the screen behind me, that he directed the Arizona Department of Revenue to actually enforce and enact a 2.5 flat percent state income tax rate to go into effect immediately starting 2023. That's right, guys, just right around the corner. Our Arizona state income tax rate will be the lowest in the entire country for any state that actually charges a state income tax at only 2.5%. In fact, in his letter right here, Governor Ducey says, the 2.5% flat tax was scheduled to phase in over 3 years. Due to Arizona's continued economic growth and record surplus, the flat tax has been unlocked ahead of schedule, indicated by a September 29th joint memo from the Joint Legislative Budget Committee and the Governor's Office of Strategic Planning and Budgeting. Therefore, it has been determined that the general fund revenues exceed $16.7 billion, which is above the statutory threshold required to implement the 2.5% flat tax in the coming tax year. Therefore, he is directing the director of the Arizona Department of Revenue to enact the 2.5% flat tax rate immediately and effectively starting January 1st, 2023. So guys, if you're looking to move to Arizona, or maybe you already live here, that is amazing news in terms of, I don't care what your income level is, guys, to be able to only have to pay 2.5% to the state for income tax on that money, awesome. You're gonna keep more money in your pocket to hopefully pay for all those additional costs that have come because of higher inflationary times that we currently live in. So guys, that's great news if you're a resident of Arizona or thinking about moving to Arizona, guys. And if you are, give us a call. We would love to chat with you. We're talking to people all the time about certain things like this and what a real estate price is doing, when the best time to buy is, all that fun stuff. We love to chat real estate. Call us at 480-660-5974 or email at info@cookandassociatesaz.com, or check us out on Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes, and we are doing awesome stuff on a daily basis. Check us out there, guys, and as always, we appreciate you, and don't forget to call.